Hey everybody, Pastor Jim here from the Indian Lake Community Church in the Lighthouse of Indian Lake. Hope this finds you safe, happy, and well whenever you happen to be watching this and well on into the future. Our topic today is one about death and grieving. So don't stop the video yet because you're thinking, I don't have time for this. This is going to be depressing. It's not depressing. Actually, this is about hope and about help if you need it. And so give me a chance. You see, I'm sitting in front of this stained glass window. I shared it with you months ago, but this was a window that was dedicated here at the Indian Lake Community Church in the chapel by my grandparents, the Reverend John B. Ellington Sr. and his wife Mary. And I remember when they dedicated this, when we were redoing the church, and I come in here often, and I see this window, and when I come in here to meditate or read or pray, it brings me great comfort to see this window and to see their names and remember my grandparents and their many years of ministry and life. And so now with my grandparents, one of the things I was thinking about is as a pastor, I do a lot of funerals. And when you do funerals, you do them for different circumstances. You do, for example, if somebody has lived a long, healthy life and they die peacefully in their sleep surrounded by their family, that's one thing. And it's easier for people then to reconcile the term celebration of life with those circumstances. If somebody dies unexpectedly or tragically, then it's a little harder to say it's a celebration of life, but it still is. And that's simply because of the hope and the promise that we have through the gospel. And I was thinking of that because that's what I experienced with the death of my grandparents, Grandma and Grandpa Ellington. And so my grandmother, when she passed away, she had been in a nursing home for some time. She had failing health and some dementia issues. And so when she passed, you know, people will say it was a blessing. And truly, it is when you think about the life to come and the life that we have here. And so while we grieved, it wasn't quite the same as when we grieved for Grandpa, because we knew that that end was coming, and we knew that it was a matter of time, and we knew that she was better off, as people like to say, with those circumstances. But Grandpa Ellington was just, Grandpa was larger than life. And whether you knew him as John or JB or whatever, in the church, in the community, and in his family, people just loved him. He was very outgoing, and just his voice resonated. It was a kind of a unique, booming kind of voice that once when I heard it on a video, where we went back and watched the video from their anniversary where they renewed their vows, and I heard his voice, hadn't heard it in years, and it brought tears to my eyes. It really did. But see, Grandpa loved life more than anybody I've ever met. He lived life and enjoyed every single moment of every single day. The big stuff, the little stuff didn't matter. Grandpa was like a big kid at heart, and he was just an amazing man and an amazing man of God. And so when Grandpa, full of life and vitality, and the day that he died, he golfed 18 holes with my relatives, my cousins, and family up in the Akron-Canton area. And then they went to dinner, and then he decided that he was ready to come home to the lake where they lived at the time. And he drove the 3 hours back and visited with my mom and dad that evening, and he went to bed, and he passed away in his sleep. And that was hard. Because number one, even at that time, he was so full of life and vitality. I mean, he was just Grandpa, you know, he was JB. He was the same as he had always been. And then suddenly he was gone. And that was hard to process because it happened so suddenly. And that was a different kind of grief. And when we experience loss, we experience different kinds of grief in different ways. And people will process grief differently. It's hard to process grief on your own, is the thing. And I know as a pastor, when I do a funeral, when I do a service, and I try to stay in touch with the family and communicate and offer prayers and hope and check in. But oftentimes as clergy, what happens is there's another circumstance that needs your attention, and another one. And after a while, you kind of get this feeling that you're just fighting fires and handling crisis as you go. And it's hard to go back and give people the pastoral care that they need after the fact. And so I am so happy that in the church last year, we started this group. It's a national group, a program called Grief Share. And it's a program where lay people who have experienced going through the grieving process or are still going through the grieving process help others in their journey. Not just their spiritual journey, but their journey of processing grief. Because What they'll tell you is the way that you're experiencing grief, if you tell somebody about that out loud and you get the feeling from them that that's not what they want to hear, or that they tell you shouldn't feel that way, then you don't really want to share it with other people. But when you share it in a room with other people who have experienced what you're going through, then it removes this whole weight, this whole burden, because you're free to be yourself and express yourself and your grief and how you're processing it. And that's why I'm so excited that we're ready to start the Grief Share program up again. After we had to close it down because of the whole COVID situation, we're starting it up again because it's an important tool to help people process grief in their lives. You know, you look through the scripture, and there's so much scripture that just brings you hope and joy and promise in the life to come. You know, the 23rd Psalm is a beautiful thing to read. Very few services don't have the 23rd Psalm. And in a celebration of life, I like to reiterate what Jesus says, that he's gone to prepare a place for us, that where he is, we may be also. And Paul's talking about our new bodies and what those will be like. And we don't know. I really hope that my new body, I'm just taller and have abs. I mean, abs that you can see. That's my hope. But my favorite is Revelation 21. You know, that there will come a day in the new heaven, the new earth, a time and a place where there is no more crying, no more pain, no more tears. Death itself will pass away. And my favorite line, really, in all the scripture, God himself will be with us, wiping every tear from our eyes. And it helps me to know, even when I think after all these years about my grandparents who have gone before, or other people I've known who have gone before, that there will come in that time and place where we will be reunited again in a place where there's no more crying, no more pain, and no more tears. And God himself will be with us, wiping every tear from our eyes. And if that doesn't bring you peace, then I'm not sure what will. But again, in this process, through this grieving process, we grieve differently. I can't be there for every person every moment when they experience grief. But in this group, what they will do is they will share with you every week. They'll share a video. You'll have a workbook. You'll have questions to explore what you're feeling and what you're going through that week. And there will be different topics from week to week. And once you watch the video, you have discussion with people who know what you're going through, people who have experienced what you're experiencing or are experiencing it currently. So if you were going through the grieving process, and it doesn't matter how long ago it was, if you're experiencing grieving over a loss that was years ago, it's okay. If you're experiencing grieving for a loss of somebody who people would say, well, you really weren't that close to them, or you weren't really closely related to them, it doesn't matter. Grief is a very personal thing. And if you're going through the grieving process, and you would like some spiritual guidance and help from other people going through that and other people who have been through that, then I invite you to be a part of this group. These are a group of people leading this that I have the utmost respect and admiration for, and they're very dear friends of mine, and I respect each and every one of them in their walk of faith and for sharing. I invite you to the Grief Share program if you're going through a time right now where it would be of help to you. It's starting up again Tuesday, September the 1st. Starts at 6 o'clock, goes to 7:30. It's an hour and a half every week. It'll have a video, it'll have a workbook, it'll have discussion, but most of all, it'll have support and it'll have compassion with a group of people who know exactly what you're already going through, have been there before, and would like nothing more than to help you in this journey. So if that would be of benefit to you, I invite you to be a part at the Lighthouse, 6 o'clock, starting Tuesday, September the 1st, 6 to 7:30. If that would be of benefit to you, I hope you take advantage of it. Anyways, God bless, take care, and I hope to see you all soon.